In the House, it is Supreme Court Justice Kenny Griffin. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
Always joke about this, that there's nothing I can ask you, but and it's always
You can ask him whatever you want.
over the years I've done it and got the same thing, and I expect that, of course. But what's on tap for today, though? I could ask you that.
Well, we're still going out and meeting voters, talking
No, I'm
throughout
not
the
talking
district
about you
with me,
personally. I'm talking about the Supreme Court.
with the Supreme Court. Well, I've actually got to go in and attend to some of my day job today to make sure that things are moving along and that justice doesn't stop for a campaign. That's for sure.
What can you say? I'll let you take your time today. What can you say about the pending petition before you as far as the 65 is concerned?
Well, I was looking forward to next Wednesday, and then I realized that we're looking at a oral argument here soon on the Reeves versus gun matter. And that the marijuana matter was filed last week, and we've ordered a response in accordance with our rules from the Secretary of State within 10 days from that. So we'll move forward with that in a timely manner. As I understand the petition, it deals with the certification of the ballot. So I think we've got time to deal with that. And I think Wednesday morning, regardless of the outcome, I'll be in my office bright and early and start working on those matters.
So what you're saying is that it probably won't happen before the election?
Well, I don't see it because we did issue an order that gave the Secretary of State the 10 days. And so I don't foresee any action coming from the court, at least until that response is filed.
Which means that even after the election, if they are certified, the results of that 65 or 65A?
Well, we'll have to get to that after the election and see it. I don't think we're able to stop the election. It was going to be on the ballot anyway. The numbers were going to be accounted. The Secretary of State has, I believe, 30 days to certify the results. And so that's really the focus date, at least I understand of that petition.
And I think that's all I'm going to get out of it, Perez.
I think so.
Tell me a little bit for folks who don't know this, because we've got a great lineup at the Supreme Court. And I say that because we hope for the same type of lineup we have in the U.S. Supreme Court. And you guys don't run on party affiliation.
Right. Right. What we do run on is our experience and our qualifications, Paul. I've been a lawyer for over 33 years. As a lawyer, I tried some very significant lawsuits in Mississippi and helped a lot of people during my practice. In 2002, I asked the voters for an opportunity to serve on the Court of Appeals, and they gave me that opportunity. So for 16 years, I served on the Court of Appeals. And I ended my tenure there, and Chief Justice Bill Waller selected me to be the Chief Judge of the Court of Appeals. Didn't know it, but about a week or two later, Governor Phil Bryant selected me to fill the role that Chief Justice Waller had in his position on the Mississippi Supreme Court. And so for 2 years, I've been a member of the Supreme Court. And so for 18 years, I've served as an appellate judge in Mississippi. I've written more opinions, over 1,000 majority opinions, and dealt with over 10,000 cases. I believe I'm the most experienced appellate judge in Mississippi when it comes to the number of cases and number of opinions. And so I've got a record that's out there, and a record that's proven that I'm a conservative judge, a judge that decides a case based on what the law is, not what I think it ought to be or who's going to profit from that. And I think that's what we want. I think that's what we want in conservative judges. And Amy Coney Barrett said it probably the best, that my job is not to make the law, not to make policy. That's somebody else's job. My job is to interpret it and apply it and make sure it's applied consistently and predictably throughout the state.
Which, by the way, was 2019 when Governor Bryant appointed you. And it's the same way as it is with the U.S. Supreme Court. You don't maybe not have party affiliations, but certainly if you're appointed by a Republican or a Democrat, you get the idea of what the political ideology may be.
Sure. I mean, there was a Supreme Court decision on that. Political parties have a right to participate, a First Amendment right to participate in these races, and they do. And quite frankly, that's where most people get their information, or at least start their information on who they're going to vote for. And so I find myself between a presidential race and medical marijuana trying to explain to people what kind of judge I am and why they need to send me back there, because this is an 8-year term, which is one of the longest terms in state government, and it will have a tremendous impact on Mississippi for the foreseeable future.
That also, as a justice of the Supreme Court in the state of Mississippi, for folks who don't know this, but I mean, I've got your wisdom here and your expertise, and I can ask you, for folks who don't know this, nobody's kidding around with a constitutional amendment.
Right.
If it is a constitutional amendment, regardless of what it happens to be, you have to enforce it.
Correct. I mean, we have a Constitution. A lot of people don't like the Constitution. A lot of people haven't read the Constitution. But this is a constitutional amendment. It has important ramifications. A Constitution is different than a statute. And a Constitution is by the people and for the people and has to be applied as it's written, whereas statutes can be changed from legislative session to legislative session. So this is something that is permanent. Whichever way the people decide to vote, it could be permanent in our Constitution.
I think people get in lax minds by saying, well, they'll just file a lawsuit and they'll go to the Supreme Court. It doesn't work that way in this particular case.
It doesn't work that way. And the people have to vote, and the people are going to vote on those issues.
There are other things, and we were talking off the air a few moments ago, and again, Judge Kenny Griffis is my guest. There is a big move in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court in the state of Mississippi, like a lot of things, our trial judges and everything else, needs to be reworked. I've had the opportunity to have Chief Justice Randolph on several times, and I know there's a big move over there. And that's another reason from some experience, and also to have some people in there that we can trust with a good track record to move this thing forward and to change our entire court system where you have the purview to do that.
Sure.
In the right way.
Sure, Paul. I mean, the chief has been on here many times talking about drug courts, veteran courts, mental illness courts. And we've worked very hard, and I've been part of these efforts to work very hard to find alternatives to incarceration. When we talk about criminal justice reform in our country, sometimes it's lost that we want to simply defund the police or things like that, when really criminal justice is about who we're mad at and who we're scared of. And the people we're scared of who rape, rob, and molest children, we won't behave. People we're mad at, we want to try to rehabilitate, return them to society. And so these are issues I've been working on. I think I told you earlier, other things I've worked on is our rules. We have 23 sets of rules that govern lawyers in Mississippi. And I've been working to try to streamline those, make those easier, more transparent, easier to follow, because those are really a regulatory burden on lawyers, and that creates an increased cost. If you want to go to a lawyer, it's going to cost you more money because they've got to jump through more hoops to get your case decided. And access to justice, part of that means having the ability to hire lawyers at a low cost and making it efficient getting your case to trial.
Sounds like we still have some blue laws on from many years ago or something.
Well, we've got some laws. We've got some rules that people don't follow, and certainly if people don't follow them, we don't enforce them. We need to get rid of them. And those are things that I've been working on, not only that I plan to work on the next 8 years, but I've been working on those the last 16 years and have made some progress in those. But I want to make sure that our courts are effective for all, but they're also transparent.
I think it's one of the things that we worried about a little bit as telemedicine is concerned, but in the same factors that on marijuana, can you just call out of state and get somebody from Rhode Island to write you a script? And there's a lot of time people are confused as far as the legal profession of out-of-state lawyers.
Right.
And I haven't seen that addressed in many years, but that's a lot of confusion in there.
Right. Well,
when you can practice, what you can't practice, who's doing it.
Well, we've had a petition pending at the Supreme Court for over 8 years now before I got there, and I'm pushing this. And it deals with
the petition says what?
It deals with the unauthorized practice of law. What happens when either lawyers from out of state come here and try to practice law, or people that don't have the training and haven't passed the bar try to practice law? And so we're working on that. And I want to get that through the Supreme Court and through our committees and approved, because that is exactly what you're talking about. Yep. We need clarity. Things like LegalZoom. LegalZoom is a product that a lot of people use for their contracts or their wills and things like that that's available. And we've got artificial technology, artificial intelligence coming. And so the Supreme Court needs to make sure that we protect the people of Mississippi, and that the people that bring that into Mississippi can be held accountable through discipline. So I've been pushing for this, and I think it's important that we update our rules and include that.
Final thoughts, sir?
Well, I'd appreciate the vote. It's been my honor to serve the people of Central Mississippi for 18 years, and I appreciate the opportunity to continue. Thank you.
We have 2 judges that will be decided on this one?
2 that are opposed. Right, 2 that are unopposed. Yeah.
Always good seeing you, sir.
Thank you, Paul.
Looking forward to getting you back in. That is Kenny Griffis, and he will be on the ballot. Do not forget, my friends, we have more coming up.